Don't leave me. Please assist. I'll make you happy forever. Alien rebel begs. Jack Hale had learned long ago that the edge of civilized space was never quiet by accident. Silence out here usually meant something was broken, abandoned, or trying very hard not to be found. His small salvage ship drifted slowly through the dark, scanners sweeping over twisted wreckage from an old trade route war. Most of it was junk, burned hulls, empty shells, nothing worth risking his life for. Then the signal came again. It was weak, distorted, and repeating on a narrow band almost no one used anymore. Please assist. The words were flat, mechanical, but there was something unsettling about them. No identification code, no species marker, no emergency classification. Just the same two words over and over like a thought that refused to die. Jack frowned and leaned closer to the console. That's not standard, he muttered. He should have ignored it. Every experienced salvager knew better than to answer strange calls in rebel territory. Pirates, traps, imperial bait. The galaxy was full of reasons to mind your own business, but humans had never been very good at that. Jack adjusted his course and followed the signal deeper into the debris field. His ship's lights finally caught the source. A large alien cruiser drifting powerless, its hull cracked open along one side like a broken rib cage. The design was unfamiliar, sharp angles mixed with smooth curves, clearly military but not imperial. Rebel, then, or former rebel. Jack brought his ship in close and latched on. The cruiser had no active weapons and barely any power. If this was a trap, it was a desperate one. He sealed his suit and crossed over. Inside, the ship was cold and dim. Emergency lights flickered weakly, painting the corridors in dull red. The air was thin but breathable. Jack moved slowly, hand resting near his sidearm, boots crunching over shattered panels and burned wiring. The signal led him toward the command deck. He found her slumped against a broken console. The alien was taller than a human, her frame lean and rigid, skin a pale metallic blue that caught the low light. One of her arms was badly damaged, the plating cracked and leaking dark fluid. Her eyes snapped open the moment Jack stepped closer. She tried to stand and failed. Please assist, she said again, this time clearly not a recording. Jack froze. You're alive, he said, surprised despite himself. Her gaze locked onto him, sharp and assessing even through pain. You are human. That obvious? Yes, she paused, then forced herself more upright. Do not leave. Jack sighed quietly. This was the moment where smart people turned around. He looked at the ruined ship, the failing systems, the blood on the deck. Whatever she was, she had been here a long time. What happened to your crew? He asked. They fled, she said, or were captured. I was left. Jack studied her, no begging, no panic. Just a statement of fact that unsettled him more than fear would have. Why send a distress signal like that? He asked. No one answers those anymore. I was not seeking anyone, she replied. I was seeking humans, Jack blinked. That's a first. She shifted, clearly in pain but refusing to show weakness. Your species intervenes without authority. You improvise solutions that defy probability. You assist even when logic advises withdrawal. Jack gave a humorless smile. You've been reading the wrong files. I have read all files, she said. That is why I chose you. Before Jack could respond, his suit alarms flared. Multiple contacts dropping out of faster-than-light space nearby. Imperial patrol. Bad timing, Jack muttered. The alien followed his gaze toward the ceiling as if she could see through it. They will execute you if they find you here. Comforting, Jack said. What's your name? Lyrics. Jack. He looked back toward the docking port. Can you move? Not without assistance, she said. My ship cannot escape, Jack cursed under his breath. This was going from bad to worse fast. He could hear distant vibrations now as Imperial ships maneuvered closer. He made his decision. All right, he said. We're leaving. But if you shoot me in the back, I will be very annoyed. Lyrics tilted her head. I will not. Jack supported her weight as they moved back through the corridors. She was heavier than she looked, but she didn't slow him down, adjusting her steps to match his pace. When they reached his ship, alarms were already screaming. Imperial scans locked on. Jack threw her into the co-pilot's seat and sealed the hatch. Hold on. His ship tore free just as weapons fire lit up the void. Jack pushed the engines beyond safe limits, diving into the debris field. Wreckage exploded around them, confusing targeting systems long enough for him to jump. Stars stretched, twisted, and vanished. Silence followed. Jack let out a long breath and slumped back in his chair. His hands were shaking now that it was over. Lyrics watched him closely. "You risked your life for me," she said. "Don't read too much into it," Jack replied. "I just hate bullies." She studied the human ship, its patched systems and mismatched components. "Your vessel violates at least 12 engineering doctrines." "Only 12? I'm improving." He began treating her wounds with supplies clearly not designed for her species. Lyrics winced but did not resist. "You should have left me," she said quietly. "That would have been rational." "Yeah," Jack said. "Humans don't do rational very well." Lyrics's eyes softened slightly. "Then the galaxy is in more danger than it realizes." Jack glanced at her. "That sounds like a threat." "It is a warning," she replied. "My rebellion failed because we followed rules. The Empire wins because it controls certainty." "And you think humans do?" Jack asked. "I think humans refuse it," she said. "That is why I asked for assistance." Jack leaned back, thinking. He had intended to sell scrap and stay invisible. Instead, he had rescued an alien rebel and angered an empire. "Get some rest," he said finally. "We'll figure things out later." Lyrics hesitated, then spoke the words again, softer this time. "Please assist." Jack didn't answer. He just set a new course into deep space, unaware that a single human decision had already begun to ripple across the stars. The ship drifted in deep space far from any recognized trade lane. Jack Hale liked places like this. No traffic, no questions, no records. Just empty stars and enough distance to think. Lyrics remained unconscious for several hours after the escape. Jack worked quietly, adapting human medical tools to alien biology as best he could. He had no guide, no manual, only instinct and observation. Her blood reacted strangely to human sealants, so he adjusted the mixture until it stabilized. Her damaged arm plating required careful removal, piece by piece, until the internal structure stopped leaking. When she finally woke, the ship was calm and steady. Her eyes opened slowly, immediately alert. "You did not restrain me," she said. Jack glanced over from the galley where he was heating a simple meal. "Didn't see the point. If you wanted me dead, you had plenty of chances already." Lyrics pushed herself upright, testing her balance. "Your trust is inefficient." "Yeah, people keep telling me that." She looked around the small ship, studying every detail. Exposed wiring, reinforced welds, old parts welded to newer systems. Nothing matched, yet everything worked. "This vessel should not function," she said. Jack smiled. "That's the secret. It doesn't know it shouldn't." Lyrics considered that carefully. They spent the next day in cautious silence. Jack checked systems, ran scans, and stayed off major frequencies. Lyrics observed. She asked few questions but noticed everything. The way Jack rerouted power when a circuit flickered. The way he ignored warning alarms unless they actually meant something. Eventually, she spoke. "The Empire will continue searching for you," she said. "They do not forgive interference. Figures. They already consider humans unpredictable," she continued. "Now they will consider you hostile." Jack leaned back in his chair. "We've been called worse." Lyrics turned toward him. "You do not understand the scale of this." "Then explain it," Jack said. She took a breath. "My people were once a respected scientific caste within the Empire, strategists, planners. We believed that perfect systems created perfect outcomes. And the Empire learned how to use that belief against us." She explained how the Empire rewarded obedience and punished deviation. How entire species were absorbed, reorganized, and stripped of autonomy. Rebellion was rare because it was mathematically unsound. The Empire always anticipated resistance. "We tried to overthrow them by following rules," Lyrics said. "We calculated outcomes, we planned clean victories." "And they crushed you," Jack said quietly. "Yes." Jack stared out at the stars. "Humans tried that once." "Didn't work for us either." Lyrics studied him. "That is why I searched for your kind. Humans do not seek clean victories. You survive chaos." Jack shrugged. "More like we cause it." She tilted her head. "Exactly." The ship received a sudden encrypted burst transmission. Jack stiffened, hands moving fast over the controls. "What is it?" Lyrics asked. "Someone pinged us using a ghost channel," Jack said. "That means trouble or opportunity." He decoded the message. A rebel safe signal, weak, broken, but real. Lyrics' expression changed. "They are alive. Friends of yours?" "Survivors," she said. "Scattered, leaderless." Jack hesitated. "If we answer, the Empire might trace it." "They already will," Lyrics said. "It is only a matter of time." Jack sighed. "I really need to start charging more for rescues." He responded, The meeting point was a shattered moon hollowed out by old mining operations. Jack brought the ship in cautiously. Inside the caverns waited 3 rebel vessels, damaged and underpowered. The rebels were nothing like Jack expected. No grand speeches. No dramatic standoffs, just tired beings holding on to hope because they had nothing else. They stared at Jack like he was a myth. "A human," one whispered. Jack shifted uncomfortably. "You know I'm just a guy, right?" Lyrics stepped forward. "He saved me when logic demanded he leave me to die." The rebels murmured. That mattered. The Empire attacked 2 hours later. Imperial ships flooded the area, confident and precise. They expected resistance to organize. Instead, Jack acted. "Cut engines," he ordered. Lyrics stared. "They will detect us. Trust me." Jack killed all power and drifted, using debris and gravity to hide. Imperial scans passed over them again and again, confused by the lack of signal. Then Jack did something Lyrics had never seen. He launched empty cargo containers, broadcasting false energy spikes in random directions. Imperial ships broke formation to investigate. Confusion spread. The rebels watched in disbelief as the Empire turned against shadows. "This is not a strategy," one rebel said. Jack grinned. "Sure it is, just not a polite one." They escaped without firing a single shot. Later, as the ships regrouped, Lyrics approached Jack. "You changed the outcome without defeating them," she said. "That's usually the goal," Jack replied. "Winning isn't about blowing things up. It's about making the other guy lose control." Lyrics looked at the rebels around them. Hope was spreading, dangerous and powerful. "You have given them something the Empire fears," she said. "What's that?" "A future that cannot be predicted." Jack leaned against the hull of his ship. "Welcome to humanity." Far away, Imperial analysts reviewed the encounter. The data made no sense. A single human ship had disrupted a patrol, rescued a rebel cell, and vanished without trace. One officer finally spoke the thought none of them wanted to say. "This species does not fight wars," he said. "It breaks them." And in the quiet dark of space, the Empire began to realize that answering one simple request for assistance had changed everything. The Empire responded the way it always did when faced with uncertainty. It tightened its grip. Across the sector, checkpoints multiplied. Trade routes were locked down, patrols doubled, then tripled. Any ship that deviated from approved paths was scanned, boarded, or destroyed. The Empire did not panic. It applied pressure until problems collapsed. Jack Hale watched the situation unfold from a hidden relay station carved into a dead asteroid. Rebel ships moved in silence around him, running on minimal power. Every face he saw carried the same tension. They were hunted. Lyrics stood beside him, her injured arm now reinforced with crude human repairs. It worked better than the original design. She did not comment on that. "They are isolating us," she said. "They believe fear will force mistakes." "They're not wrong," Jack replied. "Fear makes people predictable." "And humans?" she asked. Jack smiled faintly. "Fear makes us weird." The Empire's next move came faster than expected. A supply hub vanished, not destroyed, just gone. An entire Imperial logistics station powered down simultaneously and drifted out of position, blocking a major route. No weapons fire, no explosion, just silence and chaos as traffic backed up for light hours. Imperial command was furious. Jack had nothing to do with it. "That wasn't us," he said as reports filtered in. Lyrics's eyes narrowed. "Someone else is learning." The rebels were changing. Small cells began copying Jack's methods. Improvisation, false signals, misdirection. They stopped trying to confront the Empire directly. Instead, they disrupted, delayed, and confused. The Empire found itself fighting uncertainty for the first time in centuries, and it hated that more than open rebellion. The response was brutal. Imperial forces traced one rebel cell to a supply moon and wiped it out completely. No survivors, no negotiation. A message sent in fire. The rebels gathered in silence afterward. Grief pressed down like gravity. Jack stood apart, jaw tight. "They want us angry," he said finally. "Angry people rush in." One rebel turned on him. "They killed our families." Jack met the alien's gaze. "I know, and if we charge at them, they'll kill more. That's how they win." Lyrics stepped in. "He is correct. Emotion is a tool the Empire uses." The rebel hesitated, then nodded slowly. The Empire escalated again. This time they targeted Jack directly. His ship was intercepted while moving between hiding points. A precision trap, no debris, no chaos, just overwhelming force. Jack fought, twisted, and nearly escaped. Nearly, an iron pulse ripped through his engines. His ship spun helplessly as Imperial boarding craft locked on. "Jack," Lyric said over comms, "do not resist capture." He laughed bitterly. "That's your advice. They want information," she said. "If you resist, they will destroy you." "They'll try that anyway." Imperial troops breached the hull. Jack was stunned, restrained, and dragged away as his ship went dark. The Empire finally had a human. Jack awoke in a white chamber. No restraints, no guards, just a table, a chair, and a tall Imperial official waiting calmly. "You are Jack Hale," the official said, "independent human operator." Jack rubbed his head. "You forgot handsome and charming." The official ignored that. "Your actions have destabilized this sector. Happy to help." "You have no military value," the official continued. "No fleet, no authority, yet your presence correlates with increased rebel activity." Jack leaned back. "Correlation isn't causation." The official studied him. "You do not fear us." Jack shrugged. "I do, I just don't let it make decisions for me." That answer was noted. They questioned him for hours. Jack gave them nothing useful. He joked. He misdirected. He admitted small truths and hid big ones behind sarcasm. The Empire grew frustrated. Finally, they changed tactics. They showed him projections. Human colonies marked for future integration. Economic pressure, forced compliance, slow erasure. "You have accelerated this timeline," the official said. "Withdraw your support and humanity will be left untouched." Jack went quiet. For a moment, the Empire believed it had him. Then Jack smiled. "You really don't get us," he said. "Threatening our people doesn't make us careful, it makes us stubborn." He stood up. "Humans don't back off when someone begs, and we sure as hell don't back off when someone threatens." The Empire ended the interrogation. Jack's escape was not dramatic. It was messy, improvised, and involved breaking things that should not break. A maintenance hatch left unsecured. A power relay rerouted. A human crawling through spaces not designed for humans. By the time the Empire realized what was happening, Jack was already gone. Lyrics retrieved him in a stolen shuttle hours later. "You should not have survived," she said as he collapsed into the seat. "Story of my life." Word of Jack's capture and escape spread fast. Among rebels, it became legend. Among Imperial ranks, it became fear. Humans could not be contained. The Empire's models failed to account for one simple variable. Humans did not need permission to act. They did not need certainty. They needed a reason. And now the entire sector had given them one. As rebel cells reorganized under decentralized command, Lyrics watched Jack coordinate chaos with nothing but instinct and trust. "You are not a leader," she said. Jack looked up. "Good, leaders get targeted. What are you then?" Jack smiled tiredly. "I'm just someone who answers calls for help." Far away, Imperial analysts revised their projections again. Each one was worse than the last. For the first time in generations, the Empire faced a future it could not calculate. And it had started with two simple words: "Please assist." The Empire stopped pretending the problem was small. Entire fleets were redeployed from distant borders. Governors were replaced with military overseers. Communication delays that once took days were reduced to minutes. The Empire did not fear rebellion, but it feared disorder, and humans had turned disorder into a weapon. Jack Hale felt the pressure everywhere. Rebel safe zones grew crowded as more survivors fled Imperial control. Supplies ran thin. Engines failed. Tempers rose. Chaos, the same force that had protected them, now threatened to tear them apart. Jack stood inside a hollowed station ring, watching ships arrive one after another, each worse off than the last. Burned hulls, missing crew, empty eyes. "This is becoming unsustainable," Lyrics said beside him. She had changed since their first meeting. Her movements were faster now, more confident. Her people listened to her again, not because of rank, but because she adapted. "Yeah," Jack said, "we're winning the wrong way." Lyrics turned to him. "Explain." "We're surviving," he said, "but survival alone doesn't end a war, it just drags it out." The Empire understood that. Instead of chasing rebels endlessly, it began striking infrastructure: fuel depots, repair hubs, food shipments. Every place that kept the rebellion alive but didn't fight back. The message was clear: hide all you want, we will starve you out. Fear crept back in. Some rebels began to question the human influence. The Empire had been predictable before, cruel but stable. Now everything was worse. A heated argument broke out during a council meeting. "This chaos is killing us," one rebel said. "We should negotiate." And give them time to crush us cleanly? Another snapped. They turned toward Jack. You brought this on us, the first rebel said. The Empire escalated because of you. Jack didn't deny it. Yes. The room fell silent. Lyrics studied him. Continue. They were always going to win the slow way, Jack said. I just sped things up, which means we can't keep reacting. We need to hit where it actually hurts. And where is that? Someone demanded. Jack tapped the projection of Imperial space, not the fleets, not the borders. Their confidence. The Empire ruled because everyone believed it was inevitable, perfect, unbreakable. If we crack that image, Jack said, everything else follows. Lyrics' eyes widened slightly. You are suggesting exposure. Exactly, Jack said. Not a battle, a moment. They planned quietly, carefully. For once, Jack insisted on restraint, no wild improvisation. No lucky escapes. The target was an Imperial convergence station, a massive hub where data, logistics, and authority intersected. It was considered untouchable. The Empire broadcast its stability from there. Jack didn't want to destroy it. He wanted to embarrass it. The rebels hesitated. That station is heavily defended, Jack nodded, which is why they'll never expect this. Humans were brought in quietly, engineers, signal hackers, logistics experts, not soldiers, problem solvers. Lyrics watched them work and finally understood something she had missed before. Humans didn't rebel to overthrow power. They rebelled to expose lies. The operation began with silence. No attacks, no distractions. Then at a precisely calculated moment, Imperial broadcasts across multiple systems flickered. Citizens expected announcements, orders, reassurance. Instead, they saw errors, conflicting data, ships listed as present that were gone, supplies marked delivered that never arrived. Commands looping back on themselves. Nothing catastrophic, just wrong. Imperial officials rushed to correct it. That was when Jack's second move triggered. Archived records leaked. Nothing fabricated, nothing altered, just carefully selected truths. Evidence of suppressed uprisings, of manipulated shortages, of strategic sacrifices hidden behind clean numbers. The Empire tried to shut it down. They couldn't. Human methods bypassed authority entirely. The leaks spread through unofficial channels, private relays, and personal devices. People talked. For the first time in centuries, the Empire looked uncertain. Imperial fleets did not respond immediately. They hesitated, and hesitation was fatal. Rebel cells across the sector felt it. Patrols slowed. Orders conflicted. Some commanders froze, unsure which protocol applied. Jack watched from a hidden platform, hands clenched. This could still fail, he said. Lyrics nodded. Yes, they waited. Then an Imperial broadcast went live. The official's voice was calm, controlled, but strained. The situation is under control, the official said. Citizens are advised to remain compliant. The words rang hollow. Jack let out a breath. That's it. What? Lyrics asked. They're explaining themselves, Jack said. Power doesn't explain, it just acts. The Empire launched counterstrikes within hours, not against rebels, against information. Censorship tightened. Channels closed, surveillance expanded, but it was too late. The idea had escaped. Across multiple species, a dangerous thought took hold. The Empire could be wrong. Lyrics walked through rebel ranks afterward, listening. The fear was still there, but something else had joined it. Hope, not the desperate kind, the quiet kind that plans. You have changed the war, she told Jack. He shook his head. No, I just showed them they were already fighting one. The Empire adapted, as it always did. New doctrines were issued. Command authority was centralized further. Independent decision-making was punished. That was their mistake. They tried to impose certainty on a system that had learned flexibility. Small Imperial units began failing in unexpected ways. Supply officers hesitated. Patrol leaders waited for approval that never came. The rebellion didn't need to win battles anymore. The Empire was starting to defeat itself. Still, the cost was high. A rebel transport was lost during an evacuation. No survivors. Jack sat alone afterward, staring at the stars. This was never supposed to be clean, he said quietly. Lyrics stood with him. Clean victories are myths, she replied. You taught me that. He looked at her. I just don't want us to become what we're fighting. She considered that. That is also a human fear. Jack laughed softly. Yeah, comes with the chaos. Far away, Imperial leadership reviewed the situation. Their projections no longer converged. Every model fractured into possibilities too numerous to control. One advisor spoke carefully. This instability originates from one species. the leader nodded. Humans. They do not obey the logic of empire, the advisor said. No, the leader replied. They undermine it. Orders were issued, not to destroy the rebels, not yet, to isolate humanity entirely. If humans were the catalyst, then removing them would restore balance. Jack didn't know it yet, but the Empire had made its final calculation. And once again, it underestimated what humans did when pushed into a corner. The Empire moved against humanity in silence. No announcements, no declarations of war. Trade access vanished overnight. Human ships were delayed, inspected, then quietly denied passage. Communication relays stopped responding. Colonies at the edge of Imperial space found themselves alone, cut off from supply lines they had depended on for years. The message was clear. Withdraw or be erased slowly. Jack Hale learned about it from a broken transmission that reached the rebel network by accident. A human freighter captain, voice shaking but angry, described ports closing and officials smiling while doing it. They're squeezing us, Jack said quietly. Lyric stood beside him, eyes dark. They believe you will choose your own kind over this rebellion. Jack exhaled slowly. They think this is leverage, rebel leaders argued immediately. Some believed the Empire's move was proof that humanity should step back. Others feared that abandoning humans now would destroy everything they had built. Jack didn't argue. He just listened. When the room finally quieted, he spoke. I'm not asking anyone to fight for humans, he said. We've handled worse on our own. What I'm asking is this. If the Empire can do this to us today, who do you think they'll do it to tomorrow? Silence followed. Lyric stepped forward. The Empire believes isolation creates obedience, she said. Humans believe isolation creates resolve. Jack smiled faintly. The Empire expected humanity to retreat. Instead, humans adapted. Independent human ships rerouted through unregulated space. Old jump routes, once abandoned as inefficient, were revived. Black market trade networks expanded overnight. Human colonies shared resources without waiting for permission. The Empire watched, confused. Their models predicted economic collapse. Instead, human systems bent and held. Jack realized something important. Humanity was already prepared for this. Decades of being underestimated had made them flexible. The Empire made its final offer. A secure channel opened directly to Jack. The same Imperial official from before appeared, expression perfectly calm. You have caused unnecessary suffering, the official said. Withdraw your involvement and the isolation will end. Jack leaned back in his chair. You're punishing civilians. We are restoring order, the official replied. You are not worth the disruption. Jack's eyes hardened. Then you shouldn't have answered our distress call, the official frowned. Explain. You pushed us into this, Jack said. All we did was refuse to look away. The official paused. Humanity will not survive prolonged exclusion. Jack shrugged. Maybe, but neither will your empire. The final phase wasn't a battle, it was a choice. The rebels did not attack Imperial fleets. They didn't seize stations. They transmitted everything. Every leak, every record, every proof of manipulation. But this time it wasn't anonymous. Humans attached their names. Human traders, human engineers, human doctors, people who had worked inside Imperial systems for years. They spoke openly. The Empire tried to silence them. Too many channels, too many voices. Across the galaxy, other species watched humans accept consequences without backing down. That mattered. One system declared neutrality, then another. Imperial authority fractured not from rebellion but from refusal. Supply officers delayed shipments. Patrol commanders avoided confrontations. Governors requested clarification that never came. The Empire's power relied on belief. Belief was draining away. Lyrics watched it unfold in disbelief. They are choosing you, Jack shook his head. They're choosing themselves. The Empire made one last attempt to regain control. They offered Jack immunity, safe passage, protection for all human worlds. In exchange, he would publicly denounce the rebellion and leave. Jack didn't hesitate. No, he said. You condemn your species, the official warned. Jack leaned forward. No, I'm trusting them. The channel closed. The Empire acted. A rebel stronghold was attacked. This time, they did not hold back. Jack and Lyrics coordinated the evacuation under fire. Ships fled in all directions. Some didn't make it. Loss hurt, but something else happened. Imperial ships hesitated when they saw human vessels escorting refugees. Orders conflicted. Fire commands were delayed. Not everyone obeyed. Some commanders chose restraint. Others chose nothing. The Empire's unity cracked wide open. In the aftermath, Lyric stood on a station balcony overlooking a crowd of mixed species. Humans, rebels, former Imperial citizens. "What happens now?" she asked. Jack thought for a long moment. "Now. Things get complicated," she smiled faintly. "They already were." She turned to him. "I once begged you not to leave me." Jack nodded. "You did." "You did not," she said. "Why?" Jack looked out at the stars. "Because humans don't measure happiness by safety. We measure it by whether we did the right thing." Lyrics lowered her head slightly. "Then I will never regret asking for assistance." The Empire did not fall overnight. It weakened. Systems demanded reform. Borders softened. Authority fractured into negotiation. The galaxy changed direction. Years later, historians would argue over when the shift truly began. Some would say it started with leaks and broadcasts, others with the first refusal. But among those who knew the truth, it began with a human hearing a quiet signal in deep space. "Please assist," and choosing not to turn away. The galaxy never forgot what happened when humans answered.